People are still logging in, but we can start now. So, hello, good afternoon, everyone. I am Manish Shah from Sarla Advantech Pvt Limited, and thank you very much for your time this afternoon and joining this webinar. I'm pleased to receive Michael Seidel, who is a global partner manager with AUVESY-MDT, and Jean-Nicolas, who is a global channel manager with AUVESY-MDT. Thank you, Michael, and thank you, John, for your time this morning. And so just to start, so we had a webinar on version dog AUVESY about 4 months back, and there are a lot of development in the product and in the offering. So in this series, we want to talk more about the new product and the new capabilities we have in the solution along with our partner AUVESY-MDT. So my screen, one second. Just a minute, let me check. So my screen is updated, right? Just to, yeah, okay. So we all know version dog from AUVESY as a core solution for version control and change management, and version dog had been doing the job of helping customers like you to find out what's the latest version of my automation system, where is the last version, how do I compare if any changes were done compared to the original version, what made changes and why. And that's what AUVESY and version dog has been leading solution provider in the space of version control and change management. But we all know, right, with the advances happening in the sorry, my some issue. So with the lot of advancement happening in the industry 4.0 and the industrial IoT adoption with the smart manufacturing, as the adoption of the technologies is being adopted, customers also feel that how do they interconnect these systems, right? And although there are concerns about security, the interoperability interface of system is also equally important. And as the manufacturing is becoming more and more smarter, the product individualization is increasing, the batch sizes are reducing, and then since the batch size are reducing, the requirement to change the recipe or a BOM of a component is increasing. And in that, how do, as a customer, you ensure that you have the right program running on the systems, your production is secure, production is producing the right goods as per the customer order. All that is becoming more critical. And as the lot of mergers and acquisitions happening in the automation in the manufacturing industries, the variety of automation systems any large company manufacturers is also changing, right? So it's no more that you have only one set of automation vendors. You will have different systems with different automation components, and in that the core requirement of ensuring that you have the right component running on a machine, you have the core version control and change management requirement, and also ensuring that the security and is more important. So with that context and with these two large providers in the space, AUVESY and MDT coming together, they come up with a new solution, Octoplant. So in this session, we want to talk more about that, how AUVESY and MDT together, the new capabilities they have to meet this more complex requirement in the automation space, and to ensure that the production is running continuously and is safe. So that's where I wanted to bring Michael and Jean on stage, and if Michael and if you want to take it from here. So that's the context we wanted to present this webinar.
Yes, thank you, Manish, for that very nice introduction and giving us the chance to make that webcast with our valued partner Sarla together, and having the chance to show what Octoplant is for the Indian market. So we are very happy to have you as a strong partner on our side to talk about Octoplant. So we just shared our screen. You can see a presentation. Okay, perfect. So again, my name is Michael Seidel. I work as a global partner manager now since more than 1 year together with Manish, and I have my valued colleague with me, Jean-Nicolas. Yes. Some words from your end.
Thanks. Yes, my name is Jean-Nicolas Lehmann. I'm since more than 3.5 years by AUVESY and also a global partner manager in the EMEA point. Yes.
Thank you. Okay, so first of all, a short introduction of AUVESY-MDT. As you heard from Manish, AUVESY-MDT is now the joint company of former competitors. So maybe you know AutoSafe and maybe you know VersionDoc. We are now a joint company with a joint product strategy, which means we provide a very strong and software solution with experience of more than 47 years on the market. We have more than 2,500 customers globally, and we work together with more than 100 partners around the globe. And as I said, Sarla, Manish and his team are our valued partner for the Indian market. And of course, we have 15 regions worldwide as an installation base of our products. As you can see on that map, you can see our whole ecosystem of partners. The Indian market, of course, we have distributors around the globe. AUVESY itself is located in Germany, where our headquarters is. We have a subsidiary in China for the China market. We have, since the acquisition of MDT in that joint company, we have also 2 departments in the US for the whole US and American continent. Jean-Nicolas, maybe some words to our
Yes, thanks. Yeah, so we secured production for some of the world's most known brands. So you see them here on the screen. You see we are standard in the automotive, means everyone is using Octoplant at the moment. Better say VersionDoc, because they have VersionDoc since a long time ago. So Audi, BMW, Mercedes-Benz, etc. have all Octoplant server used. Also pharma, food and beverage, or nuclear, all divisions use actually Octoplant server, means VersionDoc. So your goal is supported by our solution, and we help you to keep your production running. That's the most important actually, and there you can earn a lot of money and save some money. Yeah. Perhaps you can say a few words to Octoplant, Michael.
Sure, thank you. What you have to understand is, since AUVESY acquired MDT, we are a joint company with a joint product strategy. I already mentioned that. So we are coming from the world of version control, data management for automated production, both companies. Maybe you know AutoSafe, maybe you know VersionDoc. Both softwares are at the moment available and supported for sure, but the new strategy for the future is Octoplant, which will have the best of both worlds in one new product on a complete new technology stack. Means all the well-known functions you maybe already use or you are interested in, means version control, data management, IoT device management, having backups in case of a disaster recovery, bringing back the last valid version into your machine, into your shop floor, in your production line, is already a core value we have. on top, on that core value, we follow the path of digitalization, Industry 4.0, and all that trends and topics with a solution for business intelligence. Means we have a business intelligence framework which gives our customers in the future the opportunity to integrate in existing infrastructures, not by exporting data out of our product into other systems, MES, SCADA systems. We also have an easy functionality to integrate data from external system and build up dashboards, KPIs, and all that stuff in Octoplant. The second big thing is called threat protection, which is part of a cybersecurity strategy where we make you as a customer, or hopefully a customer, being proactive when it's about vulnerabilities and risks on your OT, on your shop floor. There are a lot of more things. Of course, we are compliant to pharmaceutical and medical requirements, and we are able to increase we call it operational efficiency by using scripting functionalities to creating special workflows to make your work with our product more efficient. And very important information for all AUTOSAVE and VersionDoc customers, there will be a seamless migration, not only commercial-wise, also from a technical perspective, from VersionDoc into Octoplant, and in the future from AUTOSAVE into Octoplant. Something to add, Jean-Nicolas?
Yes, exactly, yeah. A very important point here is also to see who gets the benefit now of this new value propositions here. Also the guys from the IT, from the OT, that's clear, the manager level, plant manager, corporate teams, cybersecurity teams, quality department, all they can get one benefit of all these value propositions. So it's not only the OT department who get it with the safeguardings, with the versionings of the system, etc., but also manager levels with the business intelligence, they access to new benefits there. So next point, what we want to present you is clearly are the next 3 points: IoT device management, the safeguarding of the assets, and instant recovery. So these 3 base functions we want to present you now live in the system. But before we start live in the Octoplant server, I just want to explain how it works. So locally in your production network, you install the Octoplant server. You can do it on a virtual server, on a hardware. It depends on your strategy. And there you have the Octoplant server. On this Octoplant server, you install and configure all your components. One component is a device, means one PLC, one HMI, one camera. So that all was installed on the server. You have in the production, and you have the working stations here, and on every working station we are installing a user client, means an Octoplant user client. This one would be the connection, the possibility to connect to the Octoplant server and to see the different projects, and that depends on the rights you give to every user. When the user gets the connection to the server, he see the program on which he want to work today, and then he make and perform here the checkout and copy locally the current version, and then he can start his work there. Means he can make the download, test it, and optimize the programs and the rules on the system, etc., and then create locally on his user client a new version, add his comments on it, and then he can finish it with creating a new version and make then the check-in on the server and copy the new created version there. And then the workflow here is finished. That is the base for the IoT management, means the versioning. Parallelly, we configure on the server every backups. You can make the backups automatically, or you can perform them manually, or you can use the backup client or with the job trigger. So important is to get the connection to the network. The production network means to the shop floor, and there you can every time you want perform the automatic uploads, means the backups. The value, the added value here is that we make the upload, that's one time, and directly after we make a comparison. Means a smart compare is to compare the new backup you just get online on the machine, and you compare it with the backup you perform at last. And also we make the comparison between the backup online and the latest version on the server offline to see if somebody makes some modifications on it. And if that happens, you would get an alert per email to say, be careful, something was modified directly on the machine and not through Octoplant server. And so you get this information and you can check directly what happens. And if you don't find a reason, you can make a disaster recovery directly after to be sure that you run the right program on the PLC or the HMI, etc. So now we
maybe one thing to add.
Yes.
The new product Octoplant consists of, we call it Octoplant Server and Octoplant Hub. And Octoplant Server is that tool Jean-Nicolas is starting at the moment to make a live demonstration. And for all the version doc attendees, maybe on that webcam, you don't need to learn a new usability. You will find all the proven functions also in Octoplant Hub. So it's no need to learn a new kind of software. This is the only thing I want to add. So
thanks. Yes, great. So no, that's not the right one. Sorry. I just show where's my here. I just get it bigger. Sorry for that. Yes. So this is the working station you should have there, and on this working station you have installed all your editors from Siemens, from Schneider, from Rockwell, the editors you need to make the modifications and the downloads on the shop floor. On this machine, we install then these user clients here, admin clients, report clients, easy clients, and library management. It depends what you need there. And so we get the connection here with the server. I have to log in here with my username, select the server, the domain, and to simplify it, you can use a single sign-on, and you also can use the Active Directory to import all the users in the system, so you don't have to create them at the beginning. So here you see you have an overview on the left side of the working tree. That is the first step, and the most important at the beginning clearly is to create this working tree here. So this could take a lot of time, that's clear, because you have 200, 300 assets and you have to introduce them all manually in the system here.
And this represents the structure of your shop floor.
Exactly. Yeah.
Of a plant or
this
several plants. Yes.
Exactly. And to ensure that you can use Octoplant server with full functionalities directly at the beginning, we have developed a new tool here. What is the Easy Asset Integrator? When we click on it here, you can create a template, and then after this template will look like this one here. And this template, you use it to fill in all your assets, the name of the asset, the directory, the component type, the working directory in the Octoplant server. You also can add here the source of the data means actually on your server you have the program somewhere, you define where is it and you enter it here, and then you can also create through a base job of it. And when you finish that work here, it's a manual work, but yeah, it's very easily to do it. And then you can load here the CSV file and integrate automatically all your assets. So directly you can start with all your assets in the system and finish the configuration of the backups.
Means you can use the Excel for inventories, make an inventory of your shop floor and just easy upload it, and you will have the path on the left side, the structure of your company with some pre-configured component informations.
Yes, exactly. That would be helpful for the beginning, but afterwards, if you have finished that and you are working a long time with Octoplant server and you want to actualize something on the shop floor or on the device here, you also can modify this CSV file and actualize it in Octoplant server without changing anything manually in the system directly.
Means when you have a reorganization of your shop floor, a machine gets moved from one place to the other, or switching the production line, something like that, you can easily update Octoplant without doing any changes.
Yes,
that's great.
Exactly, that's amazing. Can do it directly in the Excel, and you get actualized system behind. That's very great, yeah. So, but if you don't have the possibility or the time, or you want to generate it manually in the system, I just show you how easy it is to create a new component in the system here. I just prepare here in a text file the working tree I want to create here. So that would be the new working tree I want to create here. I go back to the Octoplant server and say I create here a new directory and paste it here, enter, and see in a few seconds I get the structure, and now I can add a new component. What is a new component? New component, you see here all the devices we can manage and which are tested by AUVESY-MDT, and you can choose one, but you also can integrate new one, universals. So it means if you have exotic products which are not listed here, you can go on with the same strategy for all your assets. You don't have to get a separate server, you get them all in the server by Octoplant server. So for example here, I'm going to try and I create a new project, a Siemens PLC in a 7, for example, and I create the component now. In this way here, I just have all the tools to know that is a 7 project. I know how to perform the backup, how to make the smart compare. Smart compare is comparison between 2 versions or between a backup and a version. I have the tools to generate the backups, etc. Next step here is that I have to fill in and copy in it the project itself. So I have here one project, a 7 project. Classically, this one would be on your actual server, for example. I take it, copy it, go back to the server here, to the user client means, and I show it in the file manager, and now I just paste it. And in this way, I can close the window again, and I can create my first base version there. So it's very easy, very quick to generate it here.
And you have just to learn it one time, because it is the same function, the same procedure with every device or every asset you want to manage with version doc.
Exactly. And so now you see in 20 seconds, we create our first project in the Octoplant server. You have all the informations and you can see all the details of this project with a 7 project, and especially with S7, we also can look and get a smart view into the DB without opening any editor here. So what you see here is that we create the first version. You have the timestamp, the username, etc. And you see that we have locally this version here. And on the server, it's not present. So the process I explain you for a few minutes here, which is to make the check-in, check-out here. You get it now here, and say I have only to make here the check-in. And I copy now this version on the server, and now my work is finished here to say, okay, I have created here my first version locally, and I copy it on the server, and now I can delete it locally so that everybody can access to it and see the new product or a new component I create in the system. So when I have deleted the program here, you see the color is changing. Means this project here now is only available on the server. I have here the server view. If I click on it, I lose the project because I've been no more connected to the server. I see only the projects I have locally. So I go back, see this project is that one on which I want to work, and now I make the checkout. By the checkout, I have a lot of options. Means first of all, I can make a supplier checkout. So if you have suppliers and you want to give them the latest version of the project and get it back when they have finished, you have here the possibility to make a supplier checkout, to compress or not compress the data, and to take it in a special directory here. For example, I have external supplier, and you also can log it and told to everybody this project is under development, and I log it for the other user and say still to 5 o'clock, for example.
As an example, our customer Volkswagen in Salzgitter is using that supplier checkout very often because they have 10, 20 external engineers every day in the plant doing some automation jobs, and they really have a big benefit of using that that function because they can include an external in an internal process who has also the following all the rules.
Yes.
And he has a complete version control and documentation of what the external's done.
Exact. And so that ensure you that the external supplier bring you back the right version.
Yes.
Because here, that is the project you give to your supplier. He can introduce here his change reasons, his comments, etc. And when he give you back this project, you only have to click on supplier delivery node. At this moment, the Octoplant server, the user client is opening here, and he gonna create version number 2. You see here the change reasons and the comments of the supplier, and also you can directly check and see the differences of the delivered data and of the supplier data he give you back. At this moment, we just have to click here and he make directly a smart compare. I get no difference here because I make a checkout and check in directly, so I have no difference found. But if it's so, you see directly, okay, your supplier give you back the same version, so it's not the right one. Or there you see he didn't make any work on it, what happens? And you can start the discussions in this way. So it's nice to get the overview what the external suppliers could do for you. So in this way, I also can make a checkout only for me, say on the development, logged still to 5 o'clock, okay, and I can select here how many versions I want to check out. because I don't have to check out all the versions, because if you have 120 versions of a TIA project and you say, okay, I want them all, you can take a coffee at this moment and wait before all are checked out. So select the lastest one, the last 2 versions, etc. That would be the best way here. You also can check out the latest backup here if you mean I have to use it or to make a comparison or check something. So on this way, the project will be again in color here. And when I am directly on the project, I get here the information. Local version is equal to server version and is still logged by version doc here to 5 o'clock.
And all other users are able to see that information. I will show that later in Octoplant Hub. It's more easier for all these who knows version doc, easier to access that information, which component, which asset is logged and somebody's working on. So it's a very important function, Jean-Nicolas.
Yeah, yes. Exact. And what is also important here is to say the user will log this program, but the other one can make a checkout, because if they need to make a disaster recovery, they need the program so they can take it out and make a disaster recovery. Also, when it was logged, only thing what they not can do is to create a new version.
That makes sense, yes.
Yeah, that makes sense. And he get the information who log it, and he can ask him, okay, please unlock your project. I have a new version to check in. And so they can start the discussions without losing the modifications from each one. So that is the way to create a new project. Now, if I want to modify something, I have to double click on it or open with the editor. And at this moment, the right editor is opening. Here in this case, it should be the Semantic Manager, and then you can start working as usually on this project. How it looks like when you have a lot of modifications, you see here we have 7 modifications on this project, and we can make a smart compare with the previous version. So we launch it here, and you see in detail what happens since the version 6 to the version 7, and you get all these informations in red here colored, and you can go through all the modifications, say, okay, on version 7, this part was deleted, this part was modified on this way, etc., etc., and you can go through all the modifications and also generate here a PDF or print it directly for a meeting or for discussion with a customer, for example. So this could be possible. I can take version number 2 and set as compare partner, and I can compare it to each version that exists here. Means I can take the version 7.1, it's equal. You set compare with set partner here, and now I compare version 2.1 to version 7, and here you have all the details to say, okay, the timestamp was different here, etc., and the text, and go on. And
means
so
that is helpful when when an optimization gets lost over time. You're able to find maybe in the right version where you made that optimization and bring it back in your program. That is one potential,
security point.
Security point, yes.
Yeah,
yes.
that you can check before.
Yes.
Exact. Yeah. So in the background here, you see you get an extract of the modifications visually directly. So in some case, you need the editor to show the smart compare. In some case, you don't need it. We just have to check it on our website. We get all this information here on our Octoplant info. You have all the devices who are listed here, and here you get the information if you need the editor or not locally when you make a backup or a smart compare.
And keep in mind, when there is one of your devices not on the list, you can go with the universal component type to set it up.
Exactly. So that is the first part I showed you for a few minutes in the PowerPoint, means to create a new version and to manage the versioning. And now we go out and see how we manage and configure backup. For this, we need the admin client and the rights to access on it. And only with the admin client, you can configure the backups and modify them. Before I go in details for the jobs configurations here, I just want to show you the user management here. Here you make the synchronization with your Active Directory. You import them and synchronize them regularly to have all the users in here. When you have all these users there, you can select one and give them rights in the tree. What could they see and what could they not see? That's here. Then you give them the right to edit the programs, to create something new in it, or to delete something in it. And you can select here in details which program, which element you grant an access to the users there. So it secure your database that not everyone can access to all the programs. So if something happened on one program, you can see only 3 people have an access in the system to them. So it should be one of these 3 people who modify something, but you see it in the Octoplant history directly who makes the modifications. But you can secure most access to the critical assets, for example. So then here, as Michael said, for a few minutes, you can create your own assets. Means you have here the component list. You can edit them. For example, for SPS here, for S7, you can include here if you want more information in an Excel sheet or a Word document or a PDF to say I want to save in the same time when I save this asset. I want also to save this Excel file here or other documentations to be right with the project there. Yeah. Here you have the universal assets, but you can also create one here. You edit the name, you can choose a new symbol, the hierarchy, and the smart compare you can perform. So in some cases, you get a good result of the smart compare by binary when it's the language for the programmation, it's okay. But most of the time you cannot directly make an automatic backup, but you can get them in the system and get all the backups centrally in the Octoplant server on this way here. So now we go on with the jobs. Job means the creation of the backups. I'm going to take the one we create for a few minutes. Means here I find it directly. We have a S7 project. I take it, drag and drop, and now you see he recognized automatically that's an upload type of Semantic S7. And now you can start and go on with the configuration of it to say I want to schedule this backup by a URL trigger or using the backup client or do it manually, so no schedule. So we choose this one, and here you can select when you want to perform the backup. Every 12 hours, starting now from 1 o'clock in the morning. Okay. Then you can define who get the emails, starlet emails, if there are differences, etc. You can configure here the upload and compare. The saving policy means I want to save the backup only if it's different from the previous backup, etc. And you can also get a rollover to say I want to keep the 5 last backups, and when I arrive at the limits, we make the rollover and destroy them. So here you configure then the access path. It shows it with gateways, with converter, with Echolink for connection between TCP/IP or MPA profiles. So we have the solutions here and the possibilities to switch from one network to another. You access here also the device IP address or name on the network. Define in which rack and slot is located this one, and then start the scan to try to connect for the first time. And when you get it, you also can add here the password if the CPU have one, and then by every backup you don't have to enter this password there. You also can define here if you want to exclude some blocks from the uploads because you want to reduce the network, the traffic on the network there. You also can fix the limit of the usage of the network. So a crash could not be done by Octoplant server from off the network because there are too much data on it. We can fix a limit how many kilobytes we can use on the network, and so we slow down or put in pause the backup when we reach the limit and perform it later then. So that's a big security for you and the guys from the IT. So this was the configuration of the job here, and now I can go back to my user client here, and I go back to my project we create for a few minutes, and now I have here change history, I have here jobs, and when I go on jobs, I see here is the job we just have configured. So I can launch this backup mains directly, manually here, or waiting for the schedule here. What could be the results here? You see on another project, we have two different backups we perform, and you get here the results of it to say, okay, first one, we make a smart compare from previous backup to backup, not possible because it's not present, but we get the information, the server version is different to this backup. So you have a warning here and you get an alert per mail. And now in the next backup we perform, backup to backup is same, that's clear, but we don't resolve the issue between server version to backup. So here the OT colleague must show what happens and make a disaster recovery directly if the version on the server is the right one to get the right also on the shop floor here. So this is the presentation now of the three functionalities, means disaster recovery, means automatic backup and versioning. And now we can go back to the presentation here. Up. And just a second, please. Yes. So we show you now this workaround here, check out, check in, upload, smart compare, and now we're gonna go to show you how works the Octoplant hub. This is a separate software we installed here. It could be in the same network or somewhere else. It depends where you want to access to it. This one needs a connection to the Octoplant server to get the informations from the usability here to introduce them in the hub. But this part, Michael will present you.
Yes. So a typical setup of Octoplant at customer infrastructure is that Octoplant Hub is a web-based technology. So that is our solution for bringing the OT and the IT together. And with Octoplant Hub, we enlarge our product to become a platform and the platform means always interactions. And typically Octoplant Hub is installed on the DMZ, on the demilitarized zone behind the firewall, so that it can be accessed through your whole company structure, maybe through VPN or something like that. So this is how Octoplant Hub is looking. Very important. It can be used on any device with an internet connection and with a browser because it's a web-based technology. And with Octoplant Hub, it gets more easier to connect your sites, your company together with our solution. So the strategy with Octoplant can be becoming an enterprise customer with maybe a headquarter on the top and many connected sites, which synchronize informations to the headquarter or between different sites in your company. So as you can see, it's an easy state-of-the-art usability by just looking to the screen and see, okay, there is a dashboard with a system information where you can see all your servers. In that case, 3 servers are connected and synchronized. Servers means sites, maybe from your company. You get an overview about last job execution versus backup, how many differences, how many errors. You see then a usage information of the software, or you just one click, look into the components, then you see, okay, 3 components are already in a log state. Clicking on the log state, then you see which components or assets are at the moment logged and on which server from which user, and then it's easy to call, in that case, Mr. Wissing and ask, how long do you plan to work on that asset? I need the information, whatever. What we do here is we bring informations and people together. So that's what I mean. It's not with Octoplant Hub, we start going out of the OT and step into the world of IT and building a bridge.
What is also interesting here is you get the information who logged this project now, you know the name of that one, and if you see in the system that the backup was not executed, you also can phone him and say, hey, you're just working on this project here, please check out why we cannot perform the backup. Yes. And then he's directly on the work and you win a lot of time there.
Yeah, that's a good point. Thank you. So Octoplant Hub, for a maintenance guy, for an automation engineer in the company, he can have that information I already show you on his mobile phone in the pocket or on a tablet. Yeah, he can have it with him, and when he go to a production line, he can check the statuses of that production line and see maybe there is a problem with errors. Just an example. So with job status, you see, okay, how many jobs are performed, how many are equal, how many are not compared, or again, how many have errors. And this is a really nice function by just clicking on the color and see, okay, I just focusing on errors because that's the thing, that is my first job I need to fix. And then I see which job name with component path. So in your environment, you're able to click that link and automatically Octoplant server gets started and you are directly in the component you want to look for something or change something.
For example, here we see that all the errors are TIA projects, and yes. So you can go on for predictive maintenance why the That's jobs right. Are not running for TIA example here. Yeah.
And in a little bit more detail, we have a job log, which is gives a more detailed view with more information about the jobs we performed or you performed with Octoplant. And we have the job duration, which is an evaluation over time, automatically generated. That all that informations are automatically generated by Octoplant. With every backup gets performed, with every new component you create in it, it will automatically appear in Octoplant Hub. And job duration can help you to find out, okay, is there a job that needs more time I expect? And that happens every Wednesday night in the shift, something like that. Then this tool with 1 or 2 clicks give you the right information on which job does that happen. And by clicking the link, you can directly access it and maybe fix something. Okay.
It could be a great benefit for the IT also, because they see if the network is running well, because at the beginning you perform the backups manually.
Right.
So the network is still working than before. Now there are a lot of informations coming also on with these backups we perform automatically here. And so we can see at which moment the traffic is too high, and right. We can say, okay, you have to perform your backups in the night or on this specific time because it's the best way. So you can optimize the usability of your network also. Right. That's important for the IT and the OT guys.
And IT is a good handover. Thank you, Jean-Nicolas. The next area is the so-called admin cockpit. It's an easier access also for the IT in your company to access information about Octoplant, which client versions are in use, maybe which client operation system are in use. So in some environments, Windows XP, of course, is still available in the OT. Then you also find that out very easily. Not only on one side, if you have that synchronized multi-site scenario, an IT local, centralized on the headquarter can access that information in all sites which are connected. So a really good benefit. Of course, also for the license usage, the IT can check the current license usage and the same information for users. So which user groups are configured on which server, which kind of users are configured, who did the last check-in, and also, as you can see, some contact informations. I will now jump a little bit. Very important. You can, of course, add something.
I just would say, okay, we're in the IT and we can go to the threat protection.
Yeah. One step in between is our e-academy. Every Octoplant customer has an access to our e-academy. And learning our product, Octoplant Server or even Octoplant Hub, which is, I would say, self-explaining in the most of the time. You can learn our product like watching a stream serial on Netflix or Disney Plus, because you can learn our software when you have time or you have a topic where you want to learn. Then you just log in to our e-academy and see small videos, step-by-step tutorials to learn our software. The last, Jean-Nicolas, maybe you have something to add.
Thanks. Yeah, I just want to go on with the presentation here. The last one is now to get here the hub, and now we want to present you the threat protection. So yes, it's also a software which was installed separately outside of the production network, and this one also will make the communication between the Octoplant server and the threat protection here. And what is important here, clearly you need here internet connection to actualize the database of the vulnerabilities in it.
Right.
And so I give back to you.
No problem. So Asset Inventory Service is a technical partnership with Clarity. Clarity has its own product. It's called Clarity CDT as an example. And we have a rebranded solution of that integrated in Octoplant. And that gives us an opportunity here in that short demo to access also vulnerabilities and risk levels of your devices. Means our mission or our vision is we secure the world's automation. We do that already with providing a backup. At the end, after disaster or after a cyber attack, when you use our software, you will have a backup and can bring back the factory to life, or the machine runs again. But we now get a proactive software solution. Means with every version, with every backup you make with Octoplant, we check or we pass that information to Asset Inventory Service and check that against the vulnerability database. There are databases with so-called CVEs. CVEs are vulnerabilities which gets published by all vendors around the globe. As an example, here in that Asset Inventory Service, you will be able to access a list of your assets, and you see by a color, you see that is our basic strategy to show information in a very easy way. And you can also have that information in your pocket or on your tablet, on your smartphone, on your browser, wherever you are, also when you are in the shop floor, and see, okay, here in that example, we have 3 assets in the list. 2 of them have a medium risk level. So first of all, I can check Symantec 400 asset, and I see, okay, network information like the IP address, hardware information like the MLFB number, other informations like on which server of Octoplant is that device installed. And then very important, Jean-Nicolas showed that on the backup configuration, also the rack and slot information, and very important here, the firmware, the actual firmware. When we go back, then you click on the color and say, okay, what is my risk level with that asset? I have a risk score of 50%, 30 unpatched CVEs, and then, and this is, I wouldn't call it magic, that is the real benefit. Now you see all matched CVEs for a thematic ranked by a special score, means by clicking on that information, you not only see there is some vulnerability, there is a risk, you can easily see how to fix it, maybe through a firmware update and something like that.
Yep, sorry.
One last thing, because when I look to the time, there is only 4 minutes left. The next thing is you can have a so-called network hygiene score, which is a report created by Asset Inventory Service to give you a hygiene score of your network. As you can see, it's green in our demo, and you get an overview. 6 assets are unpatched, have unpatched vulnerabilities, and so on and so on. And you can use such a report to show it to a cybersecurity audit or something like that. And this is also a big benefit. To summarize, with Octoplant, we evolve our software in the direction of threat protection, which is Asset Inventory Service. And one thing I did not show yet, but I think you can imagine, is the BI functionality. 2 sentences about the BI functionality. Of course, we know there is a lot of more cybersecurity or similar to Clarity software around us, or any kind of software in your infrastructure. And our focus is to be we can easily integrate in your existing environment with Octoplant by having a capability for a business intelligence. Means we can export the data and transform the data in a very easy way to integrate with. There is no limitation with each software solution you have already in the company, or we link our asset informations with other cybersecurity software like Nozomi as an example. And that's it finally. That's our presentation of Octoplant. Now there is some time left for your questions, and we would hand over to Manish to start a Q&A session. Thank you very much
for the attention. Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Jean-Nicolas. Thank you for your time. I think the session was very interesting, and especially I think the Octoplant Hub, I think with the very good dashboarding and quick review of what is happening at the server and the asset monitoring and the cybersecurity angle, I think was very exciting. So we have a lot of questions. So one common question is to inform everyone, we will be sharing the some of the slides of the presentation with everybody, just to, I think a lot of people have asked about that. And
you can also, Manish, you can also share a download link, because Octoplant can be downloaded by every interested customer, can be installed. No, you don't need to install it, just unzip and use it. The same for the Octoplant Hub. You can request a demo access, and then you can play around with it and get an own impression of it.
Sure. So looking at time, maybe we'll try to take 1 or 2 questions. So one question which is common is, if a customer is already using version dog, and if they have to move to Octoplant, from the technical point of view, does the project migrate to Octoplant and they start using new, or what it takes for them to move from, say, version dog to Octoplant?
The good thing here is it's a seamless update. It's just starting the installation of Octoplant, and then the software automatically see there is a version doc installed, and it does everything by its own, migrating the whole server archive into the new environment or copy it, and doing the database update. So that is not a project, not really a project.
Okay.
It's really
Maybe-
easy to do.
Okay, thank you. And maybe one more question we'll take is that what are the new devices you are planning to add? I understand we have that information on the website, but just quickly, anything? I think Omron is a new exciting release, right? Any other new devices you are planning to add from interface point of view? Want to maybe share with the participants?
Yeah, clearly we integrate a lot of new devices coming up next release this year, but in detail we don't know which one we can finish for that date, but we regularly integrate new devices. Actually, we cannot access via our website which they are, but I mean, beginning of this summer, we get these informations in details.
And
So,
also back on Octoplant info.
Yeah.
It will be published on Octoplant info
exactly.
with which version, which new devices gets integrated. Yes, but keep in mind for all these devices which are not listed as a supported one, there is a universal component type, and for most of them we find a way to manage them.
Yes,
Yes.
exact.
Right.
Okay. Okay, some issue with my webcam background, but okay, I think. So thank you everyone who joined this call, and thank you Michael and Jean-Nicolas once again for a time, very exciting participating
Welcome.
webinar. Thank you.
Thank
you
you.
everyone.
Thank you for inviting us, and thank you for the audience for the questions and your time you spent with us. See you next
Okay.
time.
Yes.
Bye-bye.
Yes. Bye bye.